they didn't even have network built in. We were putting little Realtek cards in them. And that was my thing. I forced them to get RTL 8139s that supported wake on LAN. And they had the little cable to hook to the motherboard.
Hey, Art.
Salute.
Can't hear you. He's talking.
Check your speakers.
My speakers said recording in progress, so.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
You hear me now?
There we go.
What was that? No.
No, we. What was, did we hear something?
Don't give me a lot of crap. Okay. I'm not in the mood this afternoon.
Was it one of those days?
Well, I was just since 5 o'clock this morning, I was monitoring a cleanup crew at my house there in Milford. We had a comedy of errors, starting with getting the new sprinkler system involved in the yard, and then that precipitated other things. And bottom line was we had a spraying leak that went on for several weeks in our storage room downstairs. And we got a bunch of mildew. So we had to get somebody in to, first of all, I had to buy a good humidifier, dehumidify the place, and got a crew in to demildify or fungify or whatever the term for killing off a fungus is. And since we're 3,000 miles away or 2,500 miles away, this all has to be done by wire with people who are not intrinsically comfortable with working remote. So at any rate, it's all, knock wood, dead, done now. So hopefully we're out of the woods at this point. This is one of those small projects. It's like Saturday, you're going to do some project in the garage and you start on it, and next weekend you're finishing it up if you're lucky. Well, that's the way this project has gone, is just one event after another, so to speak. So other than that, I upgraded my Zoom at about, I don't know, 9 o'clock my time this morning. And I don't see this feature to blur the background. Where would I look for that?
I don't see it anymore.
Maybe it was such a bad idea they did away with it already. Well, I've got, to the best of my knowledge, the most up-to-date, last-minute version of Zoom that's available on Linux. Now, I assume you're on Mint. Are you,
Yes.
Leroy?
Yes. And it says that I have the latest. version 5.11.10 4400.
Let's see, let me take a quick look here.
It was, if you clicked on the arrow for the stop video, it was right there. It's a blurred background. But it's not there now. It's gone. And I don't see it in video settings. So it's gone. That's interesting.
Well, last week you said that you could click there someplace on the up arrow next to the video icon in the lower left corner of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a feature, and I think you shared that actually at one point.
Yeah, it was right there.
But I don't see it there now.
It's not there now. I guess I need to go and look and see if my my desktop has the same, is on the same version. It should be. I upgraded both at the same time.
When's the last time you upgraded?
Last week.
What version?
5.11.3.
5.11.3. Oh, okay. Because it's in 5.11.3.
It's in 5.11.3. Okay. Oh, what did I just do? Oh, that wasn't me. Okay.
Hey, you shared it. I didn't take it. Well, I did. Need it?
No. You're fine.
Low power Express IF ESP32 for $10 with a, it looks like a smart, a touch screen. $20 microamps in sleep mode.
What's clicking?
It's not me. That's Art beating on his head with a drumstick.
Some writing in there, Jim.
Sounds like the audio is overmodulating or something.
That's
It's like there's some echo.
Where does it say there's a touch screen on that? Because that didn't have a screen.
it had a little screen, I thought.
Let me get it again. There were two of them, and I thought they were the same one.
SCS3 chip, one of the RISC, one of the new RISC chips.
Never mind, that's a chip, not a screen.
Yeah, that's the ESP32.
Okay. All right, well, let's change back to the other one.
And when you're sharing your screen, it clicks.
It's popping.
Huh. Maybe it's me popping myself in the head. Maybe that's it.
Which is
Okay.
weird because your mic is muted.
Are we trying to figure out Zoom? There should be a new rule in this meeting. Never ask Leroy why, and never try to figure out Zoom.
Okay, now I got one. Let's see what it looks like. I think it's $30 though.
Well, that would make more sense if it's a touchscreen. 2 something touchscreen. 3.5 touchscreen. Well, $30 may not be such a bad deal.
Is that a real picture of the screen or?
Yeah, the chips are probably on the back side.
320 by 480. What's it, 20 megahertz? Capacitance touch panel. My
Got-
$300 Keurig has got a touchscreen on. it. Oh, yeah.
It's got two USB-C ports.
US, go, stop.
Two USB Type-C ports. Yeah.
One is a UART and one is a native USB. The S3,
Okay.
the S3 has native USB support, I believe.
Anybody wants some coffee?
So you don't need to go through a second, through a UART chip to use it. You can just connect directly to USB.
Well, that's certainly handy.
I know the C3 will do that. I think the S3 will too. But it looks like they've got a USB to UART, maybe for machines that can't deal directly with USB. So you could still use the UART.
Okay.
Go back to that pic. Go down a little bit, Jim, to that picture. Let's see if we can see what kind of UART they're using. Yeah. So you can't see what I'm pointing at, Art. That chip right there is probably the UART chip. Yep, that one right there.
The one that moves?
Yeah, that one. That is probably like a Max 230, RS 233, 232, 230 something. Only it's a cheap Chinese version, the CP, whatever that is.
The one that they tell you don't need the capacitors for, but you really do.
The one that they tell you is real, but had some problems with drivers at one point. It's got Grove connectors. That's $30, huh? That's not a bad price.
It has no video camera connection now.
Don't necessarily need, if you've got the Grove connector, you don't necessarily need. And you've
Well,
got,
if you want to hook up a Raspberry Pi camera to it, you do.
well, that's true. But if you wanted to hook up a USB camera, you probably could do it.
The Raspberry Pi camera is just such a neat combination with the old 3Bs.
Yeah.
And you could put up to something like a, I don't know, 2-meter cable on it. I've got those a number of places in both houses.
Vicente is, he's been sharing with me about some of his progress with the ESP32 cameras. So
Oh,
he's made those cameras that you wouldn't think could do some of the stuff. They can detect objects and all kinds of stuff.
Really?
Oh,
so
yeah.
is he going to drop that on the
I have no idea what I thought he was going to be here today, and he may show up later. I thought he was going to come in and share some of it. He's
okay.
got, it's real small. It's teeny tiny video, but it will detect color objects and it'll detect balls moving and all kinds of stuff. It's really cool. All on an ESP32.
Detecting mosquito and shoot it with a laser.
Don't know if it would detect a mosquito or shoot it with a laser. maybe an ant. Mosquitoes move pretty fast.
You need a high frame rate for a mosquito.
Yeah, I think he said it was 4 frames a second or something like that. It's not fast.
So you have to be looking only at slow mosquitoes.
Hopefully that mosquito stays still for a very long time to take a picture. And let
Well,
you
that's
shoot
the-
the laser at it.
That guy that uses a like off the shelf digital camera and a old PlayStation and shoots it with blue laser from the burn the wings off if it's got malaria.
Nice.
Wait, it also has to detect that it has malaria. It leaves the ones that don't.
They can tell, yeah, which ones are carrying malaria and shoots the ones.
Just shoot 'em all.
Well, that's what I would do, but that's obviously not what this guy does. This guy, shoots the one with malaria. Okay,
How do you detect that the mosquito has malaria?
it can tell through thermal and the pattern of the wings.
Okay.
They have little mosquitoes.
Really?
Yeah, evidently malaria is strictly carried by the female, and then if it's it runs like another degree or two hotter and its wing pattern buffets or something are noticeably different somehow.
So
And then it shoots the blue laser, it burns the wings off, and
he's capturing at a high frame rate too. Right?
I would assume.
I would have to assume.
But it's supposedly just, some trash camera off the shelf junk.
Well,
you
as
know.
Vicente is quickly proving, at least
Yeah.
to,
Well-
to me that I've seen,
Yeah.
it's the software, not
Yeah,
necessarily
well, that's
the
the thing.
camera.
You got the PlayStation, right? The engine, the graphic chips on it can probably crunch the video so dang fast. Whatever live stream feed coming off the camera. If the back end can handle, games, it can probably handle identifying.
I think his last message to me was something about increasing the frame rate by making the video smaller so that he could put this camera on a robot and have it track a ball rolling around.
Kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool. All on
Fetch.
a cheap $10 ESP 32 camera, which is probably closer to $20 now.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of you said that because I brought these little widgets in. Let's see if you guys have seen them.
Widgets?
Yeah.
Ah,
They're like a new wire nut
Yeah.
company. But
Oh,
yeah, a couple months ago they were like stupidly cheap. Now they're like $1 a pop.
really?
I gotta go. Wago is not a new company.
I know it's not new, but I mean this clippy thing evidently is fairly recent.
Yeah.
But what's neat, because they're reusable, and so I thought it was kind of neat because then like wire nuts and stuff, you can break the threads and stuff. This just clamps on. But yeah, I mean, this was the last.
Oh yeah, those have been around for a little while now.
This was
Those
the last-
they come in different sizes too. You can get just a 2 banger, or you can get them as wide as I think 8, something like that.
But yeah, I was like, this was the last box of cheap available ones from Home Depot. Anything now is like 4 times the price. I was like,
I'm sure I've seen something very similar to that in the service. when We were splicing wires together.
but yeah, they were saying, these are great. Not a lot of people knew about the company yet. And these little clips, and a lot of people were switching to them, but then like I said, they were affordable. Now I was looking around, there's like 4 distributors that have them available on their website here in Cincinnati. One still sells them halfway decent. They're like 40 cents a piece or something. And the other site is $5 a pop.
Vicente.
Whoa,
of-
Vicente.
Vicente can explain his project.
Just in
He
time.
didn't bring any part of his project, but he could explain his project.
Explain why.
The the
why
ESP
those
32,
don't work or
do what? That don't work?
explain what.
I love explanations of why a thing doesn't work.
He doesn't know why it doesn't work.
Oh, this?
Oh,
No,
it's
your,
working.
your
Mine.
project.
The color
Yeah.
sense.
Your project's way more impressive than this
Yeah.
robot thing.
I have no time to prepare something, but it's a work in progress. I
You
am
got rid
using
of the
the
talking.
ESP32 cam, the camera, to identify colors in the image, you know, and swap colors, for example, red for green, this kind of stuff. And now I am trying to follow a color board. So I was sending all the image to the computer with the colors exchange, you know, and it consumes a lot of time to send all the image serially. So now I only send the size of the board, I mean, the amount of pixels in the image of a specific color, and
39
the
bucks.
center of mass of the board. So you can see how it moves in the computer when you move the board in front of and the frames is just sending X and Y position and size. So I am not sending the image, just the
Where it's at,
position. Huh?
where it's at and how far away.
What?
Where it is and how far away.
Half far.
The position is how, would tell you how far away.
I change size. Yes. I just play with depending on the lens, on the angle of the view, change the apparent size of the board, different lens. I am planning to put it in raw and calibrate the size with the distance for a specific board, and try to throw the ball and see the robot just follow.
Cool, good luck.
I put in Twitter a small video. You can find it.
I'll find it.
We explain everything there. Now I want to increase the frames per second because I spend a lot of time analyzing each pixel, transforming the space of color from RGB to HDS. It's a lot of formulas to convert to create like a range of values to specify color. You know,
Okay.
when you use RGB, it's hard to use this number to identify a color because it's something three-dimensional. It's almost impossible to specify something using these three parameters. So there is a transformation in the hue, value, and intensity. Yeah. So you can create ranges from between two values for hue, is all the shades of red, and you create two values for intensity or value, depending on the lighting. So
It's HSV.
HSV. This is the video.
Cool.
Now you see like 4 frames per second. This is a 62 degrees lens. And today I changed the lens for a 120 degree. So now I see more area. Yeah, but I want to still process the same area. So it will be one fourth of the pixels, you know. So I will process 4 times faster. So I will have 16 frames per second. So you will move your ball faster, and you will see the speed of the ball, 16 frames. So because 4 frames per second, the robot won't follow the ball unless you go very slow, showing it moves. So I will lower the resolution. I mean, the pixels will be, instead of 160 or 120, 160 for 120 QQ EA will be half of that inside dimension, half and half. It means 4 times smaller the amount of pixels that I need to process. Each side I have will be a quarter. Imagine a square, and another square will have the side will be a quarter of all the square. So I will be processing 4 times faster than the pixels. Will be less pixels, but will be enough. Follow just a ball. Today I was delivering another Cutebot, the robot I use for the gray follower. I will put this camera in the new Cutebot. But I will, there are many projects that they move the camera up and down. All the projects use OpenCV in the computer. So the camera just sends frames to the computer and you process the image in the computer. My plan is to process all the image in the microcontroller.
On the camera.
And the microcontroller will be controlling also the models of the robot. So my idea of the experiment is just to have several balls of different colors and put the robot in a place and throw the balls in front of the robot, and the robot must follow the right color. I hope it works. Need to be fast to that. Maybe you can throw.
Your ball.
So I was thinking a different, instead of April tags, how to use this ESP can to identify numbers, or I was thinking on to have a couple of squares of different colors surrounded by dots,
Like-
black and white dots.
Like those grid tags.
And they have colors or something.
I sent you a link to that one
Yeah,
little
you can
robot that
I saw your mail, but I didn't check.
It's kind of an invisible grid, but it's different colors, and each
Okay,
color
okay.
means something different. So as you arrange the colors differently, it means like ones or twos or.
I was thinking on two colors, two circles of different color. Identify them and identify the centers, and estimate the position of the bits that you want to compose. You know.
I think that's sort of what this thing, what that one robot was doing, was but I think they were using 4 colors. I think it was 4 colors. But it was a little tiny color sensor. It wasn't even a camera, it was just a color sensor. So
So you do something depending on the color you sense.
yeah, well, I think the dots are so close together and they're so small that the sensor reads it all at once, and how the dots are arranged.
An average or something.
Yeah. But that one, those grid dots were tiny. You could barely see them. And in the video, you couldn't see them at all. I'll see if I can put that up.
You send me the link
I
in the
sent
mail.
it to
What
you.
was the last one?
Probably a week ago. I don't know.
I check.
I don't know. I sent it to you. I remember I sent it to you in WhatsApp, and I typed the link wrong, so I just copied it and sent it in an email to you.
I will check. Okay.
I thought that was pretty neat how they were doing that. So the entire page is full of this, full of these grid dots, but because of the color and how the grid dots are organized, it knows exactly where it's at,
Okay. I'll check.
and it sees the color, it sees the 4 bits or the 8 bits or whatever it's reading, and it knows its exact position on that page just from the colors.
I was looking for someone that used the ESP32 CAN to do some image processing, but everyone use OpenCV in the phone or in the computer.
Yeah.
Just,
Well, everybody's using,
and there is also for object identification, you know, a dog, here, training,
the
you train the web with different image and then download the algorithm or the data set to identify the.
Yeah.
I saw one using the Arduino Nano that identified numbers from 0 to 9, handwritten. But you just put the values in the flash memory, you know, put the matrix of the values. But I was thinking that you can move this to ESP32 CAN, and instead of values in the flash, just capture image and try to identify the number.
I know. I don't really see too many people using that ESP32 CAN.
No,
I think it was one of those.
I have like 7, and only 3 of them work, you know. I don't know what happened when you send, you open your serial port, it stops working. And I
Are they-
identify that is in the C screen of the board, there is a line, a white line. The ones that works have the line, and the others don't have the line.
Are they all the same camera? All from the same
No,
manufacturer?
it's the same ESP32 model. The camera is so tiny, maybe a different number.
I've got 3 or 4 different ones, and you know the what is it, the Mossy and the other settings for that camera, they're different for each one of them. So
The same model.
no, it's
I mean, OB 16.
yeah, but the manufacturers have hooked them up to different lines for whatever reason.
This morning when I was working in the woods cutting trees, but I had time to experiment with the wide angle lens, And I start changing the white balance, the contrast, the intensity, so changing parameters. But it's too slow because I change the sketch,
Mhm.
wait like 30 seconds for download and test and change something. And it's too slow. You know.
I think like those ESP32 cameras were like a gimmick that people,
It's really
They-
cheap, you know.
they do facial rec and everybody goes, oh, cool, and then nobody does anything else
I
with
like
them.
it because it's very cheap. You can, well, now it's almost $10, but used to be $4.50 or $3.50.
I think I have 4 of them that are M5 stacks, and one of them that is the real thing from Expressive. And they're all a little bit different, but they're the same, but different. But that one that M5 stack has now that has the 2 lenses that can be changed out, you can make it either a fisheye or a thing just by popping a module off and popping a module on. I thought that was pretty cool, but it's $20.
I think after this all follower, I can experiment with the align follower. Just look for a line and see what position is in the screen. Try to follow the line
A line,
with the camera.
a line should be easier to do because
Yeah,
it's
I
not
think so,
moving.
yeah.
It's not moving. Line should be easy.
So what's the diameter of these lenses? What's the aperture? Are you talking about 3 millimeters, 5 millimeters, 8 millimeters?
4 millimeters.
Well, the thread of the lens of the small
No,
one,
I'm talking about the
55 millimeters.
optical aperture.
Yeah, but this is the whole, I don't know.
Yeah,
Is there
4 or
For
5
sure.
millimeters maybe.
Okay,
I think the threads are 5 millimeter thread. So the lens is not, it's really not very
a
big.
millimeter of wool or something?
Yeah. The fish
the
eye,
screw threads or a bayonet?
no, it screws on.
Okay,
These are just you've seen them before. We've talked about all these cheap lenses
okay.
to replace.
These are the same, okay.
Replace like the security camera lenses and whatever for whatever. It's pretty much the same lens. The sensor, I think it's using an OV2640 sensor. Does that sound right?
I don't remember the name. The number 64.
26. It's the smaller. It's the lower.
2640. Yeah, the standard one of the.
Yeah, it's the lower of the 2 resolutions. But that's where you get a lot of the differences with the sensor itself.
I
The
remember I
lenses.
bought just the sensor for $1.50. It's very low cost. But the fish eye is $3 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I saw that kid and I went, oh, that's neat, but it's $20.
I see, for example, you see the fish eye cost $2.45 and $3.50 shipping.
Yeah.
So you increase the number of the lens. I want 2, and the shipping go double.
Yeah, that's how they make their money.
I tried different suppliers. All of them do the same trick. You know, you buy one, three bucks. You buy 2, but tiny 2 and $6 to sell them.
I had found some lenses, a whole kit of lenses on Amazon. I think it was $4 or $5 for this whole kit. And I bought 4 or 5 of them because they were cheap and it was free shipping. And now those same lenses on Amazon are like 20 some odd dollars for the same kit. I'm like, oh. And I think they want shipping costs on top of it now.
There are a lot of shapes, different lengths.
Who's the distributor, Leroy?
I don't remember. I mean, that was 2 years ago, probably when I bought those.
So this is on eBay or Alibaba or what?
No, I found them on Amazon. It was just a cheap lens kit, replaceable lens kit for security cameras, or I found another set, like your camera on your phone that had a magnetic ring and you could just attach to the
Yeah, you
magnetic ring.
Those are handy.
And they were cheap. But when I went to look months ago, maybe, I went to look to see what they were, and they were insanely priced for what they are. So, of course, I did not buy any more.
I showed you a picture of the micro center cameras, ESP cameras. I bought 2 of them. Those doesn't work.
Really? So I would check to see if they've changed the pin numbers on those.
The problem is that the sketch starts and you see I have a LED flashing each time I send the image. So it's flashing. When I open the COM port in the computer, freezing. Close the port in the computer, continue flashing.
I bet there's a pin number wrong. I bet there's one pin number wrong. Like it's on pin 0 and it should be on pin 1 or something.
But this is the USB port, with the same base.
Yeah,
with the same adapter.
But
I
look
read something about different problems about it now.
look to see how they. Yeah. You might have a hard time finding the pinout for the Micro Center brand, but look to see how they've got that wire, because I bet it's on a different pin. I bet there's like 1 or 2 pins that are different, and it will cause all kinds of problems. I had the same problem with like the original Expressive ESP32 camera, and then M5 Stack in their infinite wisdom decided to go off and do their own thing. So it's on completely different pin numbers. So you try to program it with one sketch, and you have.
And the M5 Stack camera use a proprietary upload the code.
No, you could do it through.
Flash,
You could do it through Arduino.
but it doesn't have buttons or anything. You need to load the driver, a special loader for this camera. So it's like
I didn't have that problem, but I'm using Linux too, so
okay.
I didn't have that problem. But yeah,
Who is still using Linux?
Who isn't?
that was Steve Gates.
Bill Gates.
Oh no, Bill uses lots of it.
They were changing the Microsoft operating system around Linux or something. They
They're
did
doing a
something
lot
about
with it. It now has Bash installed by default. That's kind of nice.
Microsoft loves Linux.
Yeah.
Just look at what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay, I'll get off this box in just a moment.
Nah, we don't think so.
At work, there are so many things that I have to do in Linux through scripting and stuff. And they give me a Windows laptop. So I install Windows Subsystem for Linux, install Ubuntu, and most things work just fine. Anything where you actually need access to the network, though, is through some weird Windows layer. So Nmap does not work at all. And it's just frustrating. It's actually easier to just use my Ubuntu to connect to the machine behind me that is running CentOS, which I'm not as used to, but it all mostly works. And just run everything from there because I can't get to my email and all that squat easily from CentOS. The Windows subsystem for Linux is interesting and it's fun, but Microsoft's refusal to, by default, put in an X client so that you can run a graphical version of Ubuntu is stupid, especially considering it's an extra $400K to install something that lets you run graphical Linux.
I haven't played with Windows for Linux subsystem in probably 2 years. I have it installed on my i3.
It is better than it was then. That was WSL1. They're up to WSL2 now.
Yeah, I think what I installed was a beta. I don't even think I installed the final thing. I think because I had signed up a long time ago as a Windows insider, so I could play with some of that crap. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Okay, why would I need this? Because I've got a Linux box sitting right here.
Yeah. It's odd to me because they say it's Ubuntu, but it doesn't have any of the things that make Linux powerful. Cron doesn't work right. It's not a VM that starts with Windows and is running and you connect to. It doesn't exist until you're there. And if you try to install a web server, you have to run a script every time you log in to start the web server because it doesn't use systemd or init or
Cron.
anything. So there are a lot of things that do not work right, but they spend so much time patting themselves on the back for making Ubuntu work in Linux.
I think when I installed it, it wasn't even in Ubuntu. It was just Linux, just a generic Linux. But of course, you know, Windows has a lot of money tied up with Conical, so it makes sense that they would want to have Ubuntu. But it doesn't make any sense that they don't have an X or some GUI for it.
Yeah, especially considering it's open source. It's not like they got to pay somebody for it.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would you have? I mean, especially in today's world with everybody wanting a GUI of some sort, except for the hardcore people. Why wouldn't you have a GUI? Or maybe I'm just overthinking it.
No.
When they first released that, I said, "Oh, this is going to be for the geek people," and they're probably not going to like it because I was like, "I got a Linux box. Why do I want to mess with this in Windows? Why do I want to do this?"
Yeah.
It's the same reason why I never installed the Linux subsystem for Chrome, because I'm like, I've got a native Linux box. course, I guess,
Linux subsystem for Chrome? What?
yeah, for Chrome OS, Chromebooks.
Oh, no, I didn't know they had such a thing.
Yeah, well, I've never
I've never
installed,
played with Chrome.
I've never installed it, but you just, there's, in the settings, you just go over and click install Linux, and it
Oh.
gives you access, full access to the Linux terminal that, you know, Chrome OS is running a
Yeah.
version of Linux anyway.
Yeah, pretty old kernel that they really should upgrade.
Well, yes. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's it's another one of those deals where I never understood why you would want to do this in the first place, because you have a Linux box. Well, I have a Linux box. Why do I want to do this?
This VirtualBox, Linux box.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't have the real tools.
yeah, it tends to work better.
Apparently it's gotten better over the years, but I've never tried it, so.
There are at least a few times a day I go, oh, let's do, oh.
Oh, we're going to do this. No, we're not. You want to see my great experiment and see if it actually will cooperate down here today? So I've been playing with this thing. I can get it fairly easily to go in the forward direction, but if I try to point it in any other direction, it starts having problems. It will actually finally move more or less to 3.3, which is where I tell it to, where I've told it to go. But pretty much it has to be going forward to do this. One of
You
the,
can't back up?
it can,
It just doesn't.
Okay.
well, there's a problem with, there's an error in my code, and it's because I wasn't really watching it when I was coding. I just need to fix it. So if it's looking, off to the right, and it needs to go to 3.3, logically it should just back up and slide up, right?
Mhm.
Well, that now becomes the forward motion. So all of a sudden it decides it wants to go forward when it should go either slide backwards or slide up and backwards.
So you get a loop.
Yes, sir, there is a loop.
And
It
you
also-
think
it also-
it's easier to go this direction.
It also, it's exactly opposite. It does exactly the opposite of what it should do. So if it's facing left, it does the same thing. So
Yeah.
what I've done is I've switched the code around. So if it needs to go to the top, it's actually going to the bottom. And if it needs to go to the bottom, it goes to the top. So I've switched the code around. It should be a simple enough thing to fix, but it's already driving me nuts. So I don't know if I'm ever going to. My other thing is, so it slides a lot and it slips a lot on this map. And I haven't really figured out how to overcome that. The best I've been able to do is I did finally figure out how to individually control each motor. So I have put different speeds for each one of the motors, and that seems to help a bit. Except it's real hard, it's real tricky. I haven't quite got it fine-tuned, so it still gets off a little bit. So if we start it here, and it's supposed to go here, I may have to push it a little bit in one direction or another, because it'll slip, it will slip. So it's connecting to the Wi-Fi right now. And
Cool, it's gonna die. You can't talk to the internet anymore.
yes. There we go. Go, go. You're so close.
Looks like it's moonwalking.
A little bit. Why did you get off? Why did you get off your happiness? Hey, you're going the wrong way. Go that way. Go that way.
Who's going to win? Leroy or the robot? But you put it up too far. That was 2-3, not 3-3.
It sees, it has to see
Oh, okay.
2-3 to know that it's on 3-3.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yes,
Because the camera's right here, so it has to see
okay.
whatever's around it. So if we, this is where it's going to get interesting, because it's either going to go that way or it's going to do something that it's not supposed to do. And if
That
it's,
sounds like Leroy all over.
okay. Oh, are we actually going to work today? Are we actually going to work?
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Notion.
Holy cow, it actually worked.
You don't know why.
No.
That can't be right.
That can't be right.
What's wrong here? What's wrong?
Wow, it worked at the library too. Wow. All right. Of course, it did have to slide up and down. It was on the same track. So,
So it doesn't slip around as much when it's going sideways?
that's when I noticed that it was slipping the most, was when it was going sideways.
Oh, okay.
But it's also slipping going forward. So I actually do have
Wow,
different numbers.
that was a nice 90-degree turn there, bud.
Oh, I got the 90-degree turns down pretty
Okay.
good.
so does it know that it's turned 90 degrees by
The tag.
tag? Okay.
So you're getting off. So my right or my left slide is still off. And now it probably thinks that it is where it is, because it's not. For whatever reason, the right, when it's facing right and starting this way, it gets very confused.
And start it off to the left.
Well, yeah,
It's
that
easy.
would. Yay, we found where we need to be. No, unfortunately, it's only a single color light. And
Well, then it needs a different blink rate.
The battery seems to be working longer today.
I'm actually only using the battery in the robot and the battery on the M5 stick. The battery that I had attached to the camera kept dying on me, so I'm powering the camera directly off of the stick. And I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's got to be better than. So it should turn and face this direction. I've got the LCD. I turned the LCD off so that to try to save power.
Yeah.
But when the LCD is off, you also don't know if it's on. So I'm blinking the LED basically.
Okay, so the LED has to be using 100 times more power than the LCD.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
That would actually make sense, right? Go forward. It's supposed to try to center itself up. Now it's going to roll right past where it needs to go.
You can blink the LED 20 seconds.
Yeah, I should change it so that
Use any energy for that.
I should change it so that it doesn't blink as fast, but it was something so that I could just look and go, oh yeah, it's still on. I'm actually kind of impressed that it actually went that way, because it wasn't doing that at the house. So I have made some progress on this thing, but
Moonwalking.
okay,
Trying.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Two times.
Yeah.
And that one, I just tapped it a little bit. I just tapped it a little. Just needed a little help. Let's see what happens. I can't read it. Just the center one, yeah.
You have to hold it in, the light's on and staying on.
No, it's displaying.
Okay.
It's displaying its network IP address for like 10 seconds.
You need to have a couple of Apple tags to show the roll stop, start over. No, different instructions. Instead of reset.
Oh, yeah. Where you going? Where you going? Come on. See how that's split?
Yeah, I need to.
You're there. Oh, go backwards. Okay. No, go forward. This way. This way.
I don't think it responds to hand signals or,
No, but I can yell at it all I want.
Yes,
We'll go over to McDonald's and get a hatch. Then it'll-
Yeah,
There was,
see, I like that story.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
see, it actually thought that
No
it was
charges.
where it was at because, or where it should have been because it, check this out. If it sees a tag that's diagonal
Uh-huh.
from it, if it actually sees the tag, it moves over and lines itself up so that it's more straighter.
That one they did, we worked for Tom,
So
pulled hacks out,
it's slipping.
hacked up a table and knocked the wall out and shattered one of their glass dividers and all kinds of stuff. Injured somebody and, no charges, let him go 18 hours later.
I bet.
Okay.
I bet it got right there and I
Have you
bet if
seen
I
the
hit the
wood
button,
shop? Have you
it's
seen the
gonna
shop
think that
teacher
it's
yet?
already,
Basketball size.
yep, it just reset. It already thinks, or it thinks that whatever this
teacher.
number is
What do you do?
right here.
He
So
got
there's a
fixed.
problem with my code.
With a pair of basketball
Where-
size,
It thinks this number is this number,
indicators on them,
but
And
only
they're
when it
letting them
comes from this
stay.
direction.
basketball size. I'm not exaggerating.
So it restarted. It saw 3-4. There's a problem with my code. If I restart it again. See, I should not be able to restart it while it's moving around, only when it gets to its final destination. But I like your idea of being able to hold a tag in front of it,
Just wait for instruction.
stop or. So it sees 3-4, so there's a problem with my code. I've got something flipped around because it should see 3-4, or it should see 3-2 and realize that it's on 3-3. when it's facing this direction. But watch what happens. It'll see 3.2, and I bet it will back up to 3.5, see 3.4, and stop. Okay, did it actually do it? No. Now it actually did it.
I hate the mechanisms.
But see, I've got a number reversed somewhere in my code, but only when it's facing this direction. Should be easy enough to find.
Multi-dimensional matrix. I'm sure it's easy to do.
You see how badly it slips, so, I mean, it,
We have 4 motors running at different speeds with the same PWM signal because different mechanical
because
adjustment, more or less gear
because the
friction
gears
or
the
something.
gears aren't all the same.
Yeah, but the friction is different. So with the same PWM, 2 motors runs at different speed slightly.
And that's why
But
they, well, and my correction to the speeds are only slight, like speed 20 and 21 or 22.
I take the motor condition, the gears or something.
If it had some sort of feedback,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
would
just
be
automatically,
easy.
yeah.
Well, it does have feedback. It can see the tags and know
Yeah.
where it's at. The translating that into turn these 2 wheels this much is,
Well, I mean, it does sort of do that because if it's off center, it will try to recenter itself, but it doesn't recenter while it's
Why
moving
don't
forward.
use just rotations and forward and backward? No sideway,
Well,
just forward, back, and rotation.
because that seems like a waste of using the mechanic.
Yeah, but it doesn't work fine. Our roll is touching a little bit in different position, and one has more grip than the other, so it's almost impossible to move sideways.
With these cheap ones, it's very, very hard. It's very tricky. And you don't know which wheel is which one you actually need to apply more to, because as it's moving, this one might start to slope, but these are fine. And without an encoder here to say, hey, I'm slipping, it's real tricky. So I think I've done fairly well. I just need to figure out the few mistakes in the actual from left to right and whatever. It's an interesting experiment, but I am getting so tired of this thing. This thing has been driving me nuts from a while.
it wouldn't help you much on this, but I had a tank at one point that had 2 motors driving the treads, and to keep it going straight, because one motor was being driven backwards and they never go to the same speed. It had a magnetic gear between the 2 sides that spun at motor speed. On the back side of the motors, there were 2 magnets. So the 2 motors would try to stay synchronized unless one was obviously being driven at a different speed. I don't think that will help you on this thing, but
Where would I stick 2 magnets?
well, you'd need 4 magnets on this.
Where would I stick them?
throw away a couple of wheels and a couple of motors.
Or just one, do 3 wheels, just 120 degrees apart. Figure out that math.
Well, I have figured out all the other math. Figuring out 120 degrees at this point should be a piece of cake, right? Math isn't the problem, I don't think. It's actually Vicente giving me how to calculate some of the angles was a huge help. And that was fairly simple math. This is not doing any of the processing. This is capable of doing processing and sending that information down here. The ESP32 is doing all the processing. I did significantly, instead of it sending that entire JSON string that I had in the past, it is now just sending X, Y, the center for the two, the rotation value and the ID. So it's only sending, and I'm not even using X and Y. I could get rid of those two if I really needed to.
If there are 2 tags within the image, does it send 2 strings?
Yes, it will still, but so far, that has only happened a couple of times. And it happens
You can
intermittently.
choose the bigger one.
Yeah,
Right.
if I was sending the height and the width, maybe I can figure out which one's the closer one.
Mhm.
Right now, it's kind of going, I'm expecting 24, so it's rejecting other stuff unless it just doesn't see 24 anywhere. But where the camera is actually sitting at and the angle, it's kind of sloped down like that. It has to be something like that, and then it might see both tags. But it's probably not going to see this tag, and if it sees this tag, it's not going to see the whole thing, so it's going to move up to 17. At least that's the way it looks. If I plug the USB cord in and look at it on the IDE and move it around on the map, I think it's really only seeing one tag. Every now and then it'll sudden.
We saw a video in a warehouse where the robots use Apple tags or something.
Mhm.
Well, looks like they move over the Apple tag, you know? They have the camera maybe in the center under the robot.
I've one of those videos of the Amazon warehouse was they went in a little bit more detail about what it was doing, and the camera is up front. But apparently there's a few overhead cameras that are tracking
Okay,
everything that's happening in that grid. So they're talking, each one of those robots is talking to the other robots, so the robot in front of it knows if there's a problem or whatever. And the way those grids are set up, if a part falls out of one of the containers, the robots will say there's something in the way. You know, it will flag it, and they will all shift over to the next set of April tags to go around the thing. It's really, really sophisticated, but they're probably spending millions of dollars and not a couple of $100.
So if you just had Amazon's budget, you'd be home free.
If I had Amazon's budget, I think I can make it work. I wouldn't be using a cheap
I
toy.
need to get you some co-op students that work for
Yeah.
free.
I don't think I'd be using a cheap toy with 3D printed parts.
Does the robots, the Amazon robots use Mecha wheels?
No, they look like they're using stepper motors or something, because they make perfect 90-degree
will rotate
turns.
the wheels and.
Did you make those wheels?
No, I didn't make those. No, that's actually an M5 stack product. Everything on there is M5 stack except for the wires.
I was just wondering if you had a more rubber matting, if it would keep it from twisting out of you.
I don't know. I think 3D printed this way. This, this thing with the robot, it's 3D printed. These are Lego parts.
Well, that's what it's got me thinking of it. I was curious if you built the wheels.
No, I didn't build the wheels. I did.
This is, it's live.
No. Looking live at Hummingbird is like trying to watch your mailbox and see your mailman live. Okay, it doesn't happen very often. He's running his route and you'll catch him periodically. My
This is
screen
a
just
solar
went-
cell over there. Solar panel. The left.
That's what
Mine.
drives the hummingbird.
My system just died.
So, solar bird.
Your system died?
Yeah. That's the
Dead?
first for that.
Either that or that hummingbird hanging there by anti-gravity.
Recording it. Okay, well, let's see. I'll try. What could you try on this? Control Alt Delete this.
Well, I ran failed at that.
Oop.
I was
Oops,
playing around with
that did something.
Word. Trying to sing some stuff. And like, passed
What, did you
wrong
kill me, Leroy?
I didn't kill you,
in
but
my machine.
I died.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then my
Well,
email-
we lost 2 cameras
Oh,
there.
this looks like Windows. I'm about to reboot it.
Neighbors.
Boy, the screen went off and the on off button is ignoring me. Oh, it's unplugged, Mike. And now, Leroy, did you unplug me?
I did.
Dadgummit.
I did. Touch it.
No wonder it died.
It just ran out of juice.
Oh, yes, I normally don't tinker with the battery. I haven't charged it ever, really.
Check that out, like I said.
What?
It, for whatever reason, it's not taking a charge, but it's a little resistor. You need to know the resistor.
Oh, this is battery, yeah.
Change your numbers
That's cute.
and it'll tell you what it is,
And it's full size.
and it's full size. Here's my tolerance. I saw that on Twitter and the guy shared the code and I was like, that's actually kind of cool.
It remembered what picture I was on.
Cool.
Wow.
That's pretty slick.
Yeah. Somebody smarter than me made a resistor
Chart.
chart on a
with
little
micro
thing,
screen.
that should have a battery in it that doesn't seem like it's taking a charge. And carry around your resistor chart in your pocket.
You can do that with a piece of paper too, but I mean,
Where's the fun in that?
what would be cooler
Barry,
if the camera could look at this resistor and tell you what the resistance was. So then you wouldn't even have to worry about what the fans meant.
oh, I don't even want to try to train anything for this camera right now.
That's what you need. That's a 12 ohm resistor. Ba-bum.
Dun, dun.
A 12 ohm resistor?
Barry's just making stuff up.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Barry, didn't mean to.
Well, no, I mean, that's, if you're gonna do ID stuff with your camera and everything, you might as well make something useful. If it's gonna display, a chart for your resistors, it should be able to identify the resistors, so you don't have to read the micro screen.
It'd be really handy, but I want it on the big monitor because I can't see the resistor anyway.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, if the display, instead of showing you a picture of what's possible ends and trying to match the colors, it just said, hey, this is a 2500 ohm resistor, and then you wouldn't have to probably read the 2500 if you.
There you go. A 12 ohm resistor would be brown, red, black. Gold would be 5%.
Yep.
I don't know why we would want a 12 ohm resistor.
Why would you want any particular value?
I mean, trying to balance out and make all the things be what they're supposed to be. If your coil needs 12 to balance it out,
There you go.
you need a 12.
Need how about the resistors that are 0 ohm resistors?
0 ohm. They're jumpers, so you can make single-sided boards. That's all. That's why they exist.
Like,
Not just a single black band.
it's, let me in the room.
Oh, yeah, I could
So
do that.
the laptop didn't crash. It did the battery died.
The battery type.
I've never seen it crash.
Oh, we're back.
Chrome doesn't crash it often. It just slows stuff down for no good reason. But that may be my processor.
You're gonna laugh when you look that up, and it is a.
Oh, I'm not gonna laugh. I'm going to,
I know what's wrong with you now.
I'm going to, why did I buy this? Because I didn't know any better.
As I said, I got mine for free. I thought it was pretty great.
Now I'm kind of curious if that's what's in my server at home. Because it's mostly pretty good stuff, but it's slower than it should be, but it's been running for like 8 years now, so I'm leaving it alone.
That's what I went from an i3 to an i5, thinking it was going to be a step up, and it was more of a step to the side.
Yeah.
No, that's always a lot of Intel stuff like that. Most people won't notice it because you usually don't go from, you go up in chips, you're usually buying nicer stuff, right? Than what your old stuff was. Like, I tell you, like, I don't think Intel's really progressed anything. That's why AMD is like smoking circles around it right now.
Well,
Because it's all smoke and mirrors what Intel's doing.
it has been for years.
Yeah.
The i9 may be the only thing that's relatively new for them.
Even
right?
at that, the i9 is the equivalent of an i7 from like 2 generations earlier. I mean, it's sad.
Intel is working as hard as they can
To not make progress.
to keep Microsoft quiet.
Quiet.
No, they, like, a core gives you 2 threads. That is 2 cores in Linux. It's 2 threads in Windows because Windows charges by core, not by thread.
Right.
So once you get into the server realm of things, and you've got something that might have 40 cores in it, if you're gonna run Windows on it, the license would be astronomical. They're trying to avoid that.
Well,
I watched the thing the other day about AMD and what the things Intel was doing on purpose, feature wise and warranty wise. Like, you can't utilize.
What happened to the sound?
You tell us.
I don't know.
California earthquake.
So, like, if Intel
Sound.
only supports DDR4 on their
Yo.
K series chips. Right. So if you actually enable full speed on your DDR4, it's considered overclocking, and you voided your warranty
Can you hear me?
on all of the Intel chips.
No microphone.
It's. Well, it was.
Hello, hello, can you hear me? He can't hear us.
This end says that it has sound. Jim, unmute for a second. Let's see if we squeal.
Hello.
Okay. Our mic is working.
Bump this
Your
up, can you
ears-
hear us?
Your ears are not working.
Can you hear me? You can't hear us.
Turn your mic off and I'll turn this one on. Okay.
Well, the meeting presenter has his microphone shut off. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Can you hear Jim?
Oh, it's this thing. It's the microphone.
Doesn't much matter. This end is making sound. Art can't hear it.
Hello?
Try resetting up your headphone. He can't hear us, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, well. We think it's you. Okay. I will leave and come back.
Oh, he left.
Yeah, it says come back.
Okay.
Oh,
Mute-
okay.
Mute you again. Let's see if it is.
Turn all the mics down to 0, but unmute everything.
Mute me. Well, like you said, it was making it to the system because it was echoing back to us. It just, he's got a problem with his ears. Oh, besides the monkey ear thing. No.
I was just wondering if his ear batteries were in out. I know it's bad,
But-
I thought it was-
But it's not showing the input level here. So maybe there is a problem. I don't know what
But
would
it
have
does
happened.
show. Are you muted again?
No. Jim's muted. Output volume is. Input says that it's unamplified.
No sound, no sound.
That's not the snowball.
Okay, let's try the snowball. Hello?
No sound.
No sound. Hello? Hello? Hello?
It is picking you up. You don't have the automatically adjust mic volume clicked. I think that's the only time it shows it.
Hello? Hello? Well, let's,
good.
hello? Let's go with, this-
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello? 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 Can you hear me?
We did have it. Actually, one of the guys dropped out.
Hello?
So we got confused.
Something's moving because I can see it moving.
Okay. No joy.
Projector. It's always happening. So, all these years, projector should be like, a printer. So somebody can-
No.
You would think. Printers are surprisingly.
Hello? Hello? Test.
How about now?
Hello?
How about now?
I don't get it. I don't understand. It should be like way over.
Can you hear me
Hello?
now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Monitor down a lot.
Oh, he said he could hear us now.
I'm gonna turn the volume down a little bit. It's killing my ears.
I turned the thing way up, so.
Yeah, well, that explains that. Can you hear me now?
Can hear you.
And I can hear you. So we're back online. I don't know what happened.
Okay, can you hear me? Because I just turned the volume down.
No. You're way low. Can barely hear you.
Okay, my volume's back up again.
I can hear you now. It's not
Okay.
real loud, but I can hear
We'll leave
you.
it alone. I won't touch my volume.
I didn't touch my volume. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened either. Total baffle.
He plugged in the resistor.
I plugged in a resistor.
Oh, the 12 ohm resistor?
My 12 ohm resistor.
See, and you didn't think it did anything.
I was
The brown, red, black,
I was questioning
gold.
the resistor. Found this guy. It's a M5 stamp C3 chip.
Okay.
Found it on eBay, brand new for $5.
Cool. What's it do?
It's a C3. It's an ESP32 C3 model.
First time unwrapping it. Wait, where is it?
It's tiny. No, I've actually had it on once.
Metal case or plastic?
It's plastic.
No, we don't.
Mhm.
M-Stack 5?
Got it.
Yeah, they're $7 or $8.
I like the castellated pins thing.
I'm kind of mixed on those. I'm kind of mixed on the fact that you have to solder your own Grove connector
Yeah.
to it. But I figured for $5, I'd find something to do with it.
I went and bought some solder. Somebody was telling me that the 3763 melted at a lower temperature and was easier to deal with. I don't like it. I'm surprised that a 3% difference in lead makes as much difference as it does. But 6040 is much smoother.
I honestly don't. know.
The eutectic is the 3763.
Yeah.
And around the eutectic, those curves take a deep dive.
Yeah.
So from 6040 to 3763, you probably drop, I don't know, 15 degrees or so. C.
Yeah, it is cooler, but it doesn't flow nearly as well. It's
This,
weird.
I
this
bought
is true.
the only solder that I've ever bought. I bought at some auction probably 20 years ago. I've still got, I mean, it's real thin stuff.
Yeah.
It's not marked what it is, except it's got lead in it. That's all I know. And once it starts melting, it fantastic solder. It's just getting it to melt the first time.
Yeah.
Well, the difference can be the different resin cores that are in it also. That can have a big different change on a big impact on the flow characteristics.
So that really thin stuff doesn't have a resin core, does it?
Oh, yeah.
The one I just got does.
Yeah.
And it's resin, not rosin. It's, well, no, this one is resin core. I'm used to Kester 44. I've got 5 pounds of
Yeah.
this. I love that solder. But this is M&G or something. And I was told, oh, you'll love it. I don't. I bought a half pound of it at 25 bucks, which surprised me that I'd spend that much.
The solder that I've got one roll of, one spool of it. It's lasted forever.
Yes.
It's fantastic solder, except it takes a while for it to first start to melt.
Mhm.
But once you get it going, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
With my old soldering iron, I had an old Techniques soldering iron. That thing would heat up quick, and it was beautiful. That had a real thin thing on it, and this solder is razor thin, and it was working so great. But with my new iron, it doesn't work so well.
So why did you get rid of the old one?
Because I used it so much that I burned it up.
Oh, the heating element no longer would go?
Yeah, and when I went to try to find a replacement for it, they no longer make that particular soldering iron, and it was just going to be cheaper to buy a new soldering iron than it was to try to fix my old one.
What brand was it?
Tectronics.
Tektronix. makes you good.
Tektronix. It was a Tektronix. It was a superb. If I could get my hands on another one, I would, but it seems like when I looked on eBay, even for a replacement, they wanted like $300 or $400 for this thing.
Ooh, wow.
Must be because it's a fantastic soldering iron. But
Okay.
that thing lasted probably, I bought that from the same auction. So it probably lasted 17 years, and it probably was 10 years old when I bought it. So
did you lose the element or the tip?
when I went to try to troubleshoot it, the thing said that it had lost.
Or the temperature sensor?
No, it wasn't the temperature sensor. It was something else. The base said that it couldn't find the iron anymore.
Probably the sensor then.
Could have been a sensor, but I remember going to the troubleshooting website, and it said that I think it was the iron itself that was the problem.
Yeah.
I went
Not the
through-
power supply?
No, because the base still powered up and everything. But I went through a half a dozen different checks, and I think I came to the conclusion that either there was a short in the wire, or the thing just bit the dust.
Yeah.
I think
Take it apart and solder it.
I've got an old
I-
industrial weller that
I-
I taped together. now.
I actually kept that thing in storage for probably 5 years going, I'm going to fix this, I'm going to fix this. And then when we moved to the apartment, I had Vicente in my head. If you haven't touched this stuff in 3 years, get rid of it.
Oh, no, no.
Vicente was in my head going, if you haven't touched
gonna
this
say,
stuff in 3
Is there
years,
anything
get
to
rid
drop
of
a
it.
Box out for you then, and I'll just come by and randomly pick it up every.
So,
That's live. The-
There's no bird.
No bird, exactly. 95% of the time, there will be no bird there.
no bird.
He goes by occasionally, does his
That
dance, and he's gone.
Bird sits on the hook and sits there and keeps the other birds away.
That's a solar powered one.
The male one
It's
chirps.
been on
the
for
whole
about a
time
month.
he's sitting there, it cracks me up.
I got a protein feeder for.
I bought a
birds at our place.
Chinese soldering
I
iron
got a protein
with
feeder.
a reflow
It's about
station
this big
Yeah.
around,
attached to
put a
it.
red
Reflow
plastic
station works
flower.
fantastic.
You put a
Soldering
couple of
irons.
bananas in it,
Huh?
and it attracts
Really?
flies.
Yeah.
They love it.
That one I
Oh.
bought was pretty nice.
Makes them very,
I don't use it very much.
I saw Matt at a
You
yellow
probably
jacket
use it
today.
more than I have.
oh, yeah.
Yellow jacket.
It's probably, what did you pay for it?
$48.
Yeah, I think I paid $60 for this.
So you get a lot of.
It works fine.
Not a lot.
It's like the iron takes
We've got
40 minutes to heat up.
5 or 6 that stay around the house.
It's
They're-
got a
they're
digital
gone now.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever you
No,
want.
ours is still there today. I saw it.
This one does.
I
too.
didn't
Just-
see it day before
It's
yesterday.
probably
I
just
saw
me
none.
because
Mhm.
that
Yesterday,
other
I saw, I
iron
think.
would heat up
one multiple
pretty much like
times.
that. This one
Seems slower.
seems like it takes
Well, so,
forever.
you should see what I soldered with it when I bought that thing. I used
Oh,
a
yeah.
reflow.
Oh, of course, that's
We
probably
had a bronze or
5:28
brass
AM. Wow.
eagle, or the wing had gotten mashed off. and Dad had brought it from the scrapyard or whatever, and the guy wanted it fixed. And I was like, he went and bought some like $100 soldering gun and like burned it to pieces because it was trying to do the whole wing at once. And
Use the reflow station.
yeah, and I used that and just to heat the wing and keep it all thing, and he sat there and soldered up the side of the wing.
Yeah, that reflow station will burn the house down if you let it sit. But see, I got used to that good iron that I had,
Yeah.
and it would heat up within 2 or 3 minutes. And this thing, I mean, it just takes forever for it to heat up. It's probably not 40 minutes. It just seems like it's 40
Yeah, it's like
minutes.
watching water boil. I want to solder now. It's like,
Yeah, I turned you on because I want to solder. I don't want to wait for you to heat up.
He's been there today.
Yeah.
I've got, I
How's it
bought a
9:18?
halfway decent solder extractor. Which is it's an iron that's got, pump thing on it.
you know,
Man, that thing's awesome. If you ever need to desolder stuff.
Is that one of these blue things that you cock it and then you,
No, this is actually, it's the same idea as the blue thing that you cock, but it's built
squeaky
into
ball.
the iron.
really?
Yeah. The iron will heat it up and you hit the button and it sucks it right in.
The iron has a hollow tip.
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
squeaky ball.
I've got one of those with an electric vacuum pump. It's got a foot pedal.
Oh.
That's what I thought I was buying when I bought it, was one of the electric deals, but
Mine's,
I got it. It was a Chinese, it's another one of the Chinese models, so I thought I was getting something other than what I got. But when I got it, I was like, oh, this thing works great. I mean, it works way better than the stupid solder sucker thing.
Yeah. I've never plugged mine in Does anybody want one?
Oh, it's hot,
At least I do.
a
It's
desolder?
It's a Weller desoldering station. The box is like that big. It's got an inline filter to catch solder and stuff. The thing was probably $400. It's got a soldering iron on one side and a solder sucker on the other.
Me.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you will not have a hard time getting rid of that.
I don't know if it works.
Oh, that reminds me, since you mentioned that. Who else would like a weather alert radio? I got like 35 more to just give away.
Do they work?
Take a
Yeah.
desolder.
Huh, bring some in. You can find suckers. I mean, somebody that get pregnant, yeah.
He already gave me one.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't
I'm
need
the
it
ones,
anymore.
but
I got one or two.
I talked to my uncle the other day about it. What do you want to do with these things? He's like, oh, I gave them to you to give to whoever wants them. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm ready to get rid of them.
Are they ready for emergencies?
Yeah,
They're,
2 to 3.
They work?
Good to go.
they are like,
Everybody get the Amber Alert this week?
1982.
oh, yeah.
Ah,
They are from the 80s, maybe the early 90s.
Brand new,
And
still in the box.
they're only, I think they've only got 3 stations.
Yes, they got 3
to-
regional, well, they're US regional, so
Yeah,
there's 3.
but
3
they've
notches.
added, over the years, they've added like 2 or 3 more channels.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, but luckily, one of these channels that they've got
It's here.
is here. We can get it.
oh, cool.
It worked great.
It works good. It's not SAM compliant, so anytime there's an alert, you will get it. So even if the weather is not for your particular area, you will get the alert, which,
My phone burped and we had that Amber Alert the other day and it burped and it had the 2-minute repeat. And every 2 minutes and I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. I had to reboot it to stop it. Yeah,
Mine didn't do
it's
that.
driving me nuts. I'd look and there was no announcement, but it was going on.
Yeah. Mine gave me the announcement. And then it said, do you want to receive these anymore? And I'm like, no, not really. So
I
I
went-
turned it off on this one. And then the next day they did another one. And my work phone gives up.
I turned them off, the highest level one, gone.
I
had
don't,
ours go off at like 2 AM the other day, a couple
Yeah.
months back. I was like, for a child alert, and I was like, what the?
And
2 AM, yeah. And that's exactly what it was in Akron. It's like 2 AM in the morning.
saw
You're
one
waking me up
yesterday.
and
One today.
tell me about a kid's missing in Akron. I was like, are you shitting me? I'm like,
yeah,
you're done.
mine didn't give me the option to turn that off, but
It's in there. It's
Buried in the settings somewhere.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't.
I found it.
the-
I had
the,
to.
The Amber Alerts kind of bug me, but I like the weather alerts. The weather alerts are all
Oh,
right.
yeah, it's lovely, getting the notification, lightning didn't strike in your area 5 minutes after the storm's gone.
So I've not gotten those.
Oh,
yeah.
how about your weather today will be the same tomorrow? Yeah, I need that.
Yeah.
Alarm me on that, please.
I keep telling my mom, because hers always goes off, telling us that, lightning in the area, it's like, yeah, the storm will, it's been gone for like 20 minutes. It's like the rock, the weather rock out there on a pedestal does a better job.
I've never seen one that says lightning in the area. That's
really?
crazy.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
Hers
So-
does it all the time.
Jim's giving us a warning.
Lightning striking your
It's time to
area.
go.
Lightning strikes.
Have you guys seen that Flipper
Bye,
Zero?
Art. I don't know. if
Take
you can
care,
hear me.
guys. See you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Take care.
My
Bye.
buddy brought his into the meeting Thursday, and